I'm back, baby. But let's get into some fun stuff on PHNX Sun Devils.
Tart Tuesday here at PHNX Studios, guys. Welcome to the PHNX Sun Devils show, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Head to any Circle K Arizona location where you get any size Polar Pop or Frosted for just 79 cents now through September 3rd. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am Anthony Totri, joined as always by DJ Kyle. DJ Kyle's behind the Mac. He is making the magic happen. Say what's up to the people, DJ Kyle.
What's up?
There we go. There we go. We also got the blind mouse back in the house.
Back in the building, I think.
Erik Ruby. Guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your delicious podcast. We have a lot to get into today. We're talking a little bit about a former Arizona State wide receiver on the trading block in the NFL, Brandon Aiyuk himself. Where is he going to land? We're also going to be talking a little bit about fall camp because the blind mouse here has been on vacation.
Been blind.
Missed the entire thing. So if you've missed the latest on ASU's fall camp, well, you have joined the right spot. But first, we are going to be talking about Bobby Hurley and the Arizona State Sun Devils scheduling a home series against Gonzaga. I don't think Arizona State has ever played Gonzaga in the history of the Sun Devil men's basketball program. So certainly a lot to get into there because guess what? Bobby Hurley and Arizona State, they are not messing around when it comes to basketball this season.
You know, you're just lying to the people.
Am I lying? They've played before?
How can you forget December 10th, 1970?
How can I forget?
ASU wins 80-74. And as it says, as of November 18th, 2017, the two teams have played each other 12 times, with ASU winning one more game than they've lost.
Wow, well, I guess I'm just a liar. I'm a liar and a thief. I'm sorry.
You were very bold with that too.
Well, I saw something. The voices were talking.
The voices were talking.
They talk to me from time to time. Do the voices not talk to you?
I think your voices talk to me and they say, "Hey, can you like keep
you have like
keep
a
calm?
devil and an angel Totri?
I just have two Totris on my ears and it's absolute hell."
Sounds intense. Before we get into all things Arizona State, I mean, it would be rude to not ask how your honeymoon was, Erik.
It was great, man. It was great. I went off the grid.
In Alaska, evidently.
A little... oh, wait, should I turn the fish hat around?
There you go. Woo!
I picked up... This is for my boy Shane. It's a fish hat. So I got me a fish hat. No, I went to California. Delayed honeymoon since I decided to get married in the middle of the sun season, which was a good decision by me. But yeah, it was great. Went off the grid in the sense of turned all the notifications off of my phone.
Love that.
Off of social media.
Didn't even respond to me yesterday when I texted him.
I actually did respond to you yesterday.
But it was
That's
a few
fake
hours late.
news.
It was a few hours
fake.
late.
Yeah, I was driving like 9 hours yesterday. So listen, man. Appreciate you holding down the fort, your own fort. You held it down solo.
My own fort.
I knew
Made
that
Lincoln Logs.
I knew you'd be perfectly fine, and you were. But I've been keeping slight tabs and catching up on fall camp. There are a couple sound bites that I was like, oh, okay.
I can't even imagine what you're referring to.
I am. I'm excited to talk about that, but always excited also to get into hoops. As JJ in the chat, as always, when you talk about ASU basketball, says, "Wow, Gonzaga, what?"
Just spawning, man.
Yeah, I mean,
just spawning.
This is just another addition to a schedule that screams the Arizona State Sun Devils are not afraid.
No.
Bobby Hurley is not afraid.
Absolutely.
Not only are you going to go to the hardest conference in all of college basketball, you're also going to make a non-conference schedule that is extremely difficult.
Harder than anything Arizona State's ever seen.
Yeah, and adding on to it, because we've been saying that. We've been saying how difficult of a schedule it's been, and then they add the most difficult school in that, in Gonzaga. So this is a massive opportunity for them.
Absolutely. John Rothstein had this to say this morning on X, saying, news, Arizona State and Gonzaga will begin a home-and-home series on November 10th in Spokane, according to multiple sources, return game in Tempe during the 2025-26 season. You already kind of alluded to it, Erik. Like, this is just further evidence that Bobby Hurley and Arizona State, they're not messing around.
No.
You go into the Big 12, you understand that conference play is going to be a gauntlet with Houston, with Arizona, with Kansas, with Baylor, with Iowa State, and the list continues to grow as some of these teams really start to develop their rosters, kind of gearing up for this season. And then Arizona State, of course, already with some serious contenders in their non-conference schedule. Before you even got to Gonzaga, you had teams like a GCU, you had teams like New Mexico, Florida. You already had a bunch of teams that were in the NCAA tournament that you are opting to see in non-conference play.
Right.
And I think there's probably some people, some mid-level Arizona State fans that maybe don't keep up too much with Arizona State basketball. And they're like, why would the Sun Devils do this? Why would Bobby Hurley and Arizona State schedule a non-con game like this and really have a whole non-conference schedule full of giants in competition? And Erik, I think the easy answer is Bobby Hurley understands the weight of this season, understands that you want to make noise the moment you get to the Big 12, because it is the conference of conferences when it comes to college basketball. And what this does is it's going to set Arizona State up when you get to those Kansas games, when you get to your Arizona games, when you get to your Houston and Iowa State games. You aren't kind of going in dark. No. You're not playing cupcake games in non-conference, which Bobby Hurley and Arizona State never really do, play cupcake games in non-conference. But this furthers, again, that this team should be ready by Big 12 play.
Well, and that's the thing also. What's one of the big concerns when it comes to this ASU team right now? It's, well, they don't have a lot of chemistry together. They're banking on the best recruiting class in program history, which is awesome. But at the same time, unpromised. Yeah. You're looking at 2 5-stars that need to be introduced to the college space, and they might hit the ground running and they might just be absolute buckets. But imagine how confident they would be if it's not you're beating up on some low mid-major school. No offense to Shane's favorite teams, but you're beating up on or competing with the Gonzaga, right? And losing a game to Gonzaga, if it's a hard-fought one where your freshman and your newly gelled team together is good, you know, that's still a confidence booster. And you're looking at a team that wants to make the tournament. Yeah. And you're looking at a team that's going to go craving a tournament. It's going to go through absolute hell in the Big 12. And you're looking at a conference that could have over half of its teams in the tournament. The difference maker might be strength of schedule. Yeah. Like that really might come down to how you determine who actually gets to go from the Big 12, especially on that back end. So I'm interested to see. A lot of the concerns that we've had with Bobby Hurley-led teams before is that they feel kind of disjointed, and it's like when they're clicking, and then when they're not, it's like the wheels just fall off. Mm-hmm. Can you hit the ground running with a basically completely new roster, -2, against some extremely tough competition? Some competition that would be tough if you're facing them at the end of the season.
Some competition would be tough if you're a top 10 team. These are no slouches, right? JJB in the chat, Santa Clara, GCU, St. Mary's, also potentially USC or New Mexico, Florida, Gonzaga. Yeah. Like, this is a non-conference schedule for the ages for Arizona State. And you bring up a phenomenal point alluding to the freshmen, Jaden Quaintance and Josan Sannon. Yep. Right? 2 5-stars that there's a lot of expectation for what these two kids can do in year one for Arizona State, whether they start, whether they're the first men off the bench, doesn't matter. You want to get the most out of them in Tempe, right?
Yeah, especially Sannon, who will most likely only be here for 1 year. Quaintance, who you're trying to keep satisfied enough to stay for another year.
Let's forget about this season for a second.
Sure.
If I'm Bobby Hurley.
Whatever you want to do, man.
If I'm Bobby Hurley and I'm like, okay, we're headed into the Big 12. We're going to be here a while. Let's say I'm comfortable with my spot here as the head coach. Mm-hmm. There's, an agreement with the athletic department that I'm not going anywhere for a little bit.
Yep.
And today's day and age of college athletics, transfer portal, NIL, etc. You have to be looking beyond this season. You have to be looking beyond your current players. And what is a bigger selling point to future recruits, future transfers, than being like, hey, you know what? Not only do you get to live in Tempe, Arizona, beautiful, beautiful place to live, great place to try and build a program for college basketball. Not only do you get to play in the Big 12, where every single week you are playing the nation's top teams, But guess what? Even in non-conference play, you get to play Florida.
Yeah.
You get to play Gonzaga. You get to play and beat up on your little brother, GCU. Like, you get
That's
to
gonna be a
play
fun one.
these teams, and you get to compete. You get to show the nation every single game just how damn good you can be.
Yeah.
And if you want to get back to this roster, looking at it, you bring up another good point about the synergy and the chemistry of this team. Last year's team didn't feel like it had. Didn't feel like they came together enough and really were on the same page offensively.
It felt very disjointed. And I think part of that was you didn't have a complementary skill set to like have cohesive basketball to where it's hard to get in a rhythm when you don't play around players that are, conducive to you getting in a rhythm. But at the same time, it just felt like everybody was on a different page.
Yeah, it
right.
did.
And I think another thing lost in all of this is that and this is not just ASU basketball. This is just kind of Sun Devils sports, period. What is always a common theme? They get up for the big games. Like, this is upset city, and not just this program, but if you want to look at this program, there are lots of times where you go into a game and nationally it's like 99 win percentage for opponent Kansas. And ASU walks in either their building or their own building and kicks their butt.
Yeah.
And what was also the complaint, though? They just don't lock in when their opponent is not at that same caliber.
Yeah, they play up and down to their competition.
And so you don't get like, there's no, hey, let's dip our toes into this season and, we should beat this team.
Yeah.
We need to go in and play our best basketball today. There's no room for error.
Yeah.
Right? So we need to play our best basketball today.
Yep.
Right? It's game 2 of the season. It doesn't matter because this win could be the difference between us making and missing the tournament.
Absolutely.
This could be the difference between the Bobby Hurley but the national first 4 in, or last 4 in, what I mean?
I'm not talking about the first 4.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like that could be that win. That win could be different.
Yeah.
Right? Like the second win of the season could be the difference between playing postseason basketball and not. And I don't think there's a world where they don't understand that. And I think they continue to add to that because they understand that and because they know. And quite frankly, you don't schedule this if you don't have confidence that you have a chance.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think ASU is going to be like getting paid like, those schools where it's like LSU paid Troy $7.5 million to be their homecoming game. And then Troy beat them. Like that's not really what's going on here. I mean, ASU, maybe, I don't know the specifics behind it, but this is a team that could win.
I think it's beautiful that it's coming the same week that not Hurley, but Dilly on the football field was like, look, we're a bunch of misfits and underdogs.
Mm-hmm.
We're guys and we got a roster of guys that, maybe didn't succeed at their first program or people wrote them off or that nobody wanted.
Yeah.
And they're going to come here and they're going to elevate the expectations and they're going to surpass the expectations. And Bobby Hurley, I think, understands that as well. Again, not to say that it's a roster made of underdogs and misfits, but in a way, Arizona State's always an underdog and always a band of misfits because you never expect the Sun Devils to make it far in the NCAA tournament. You never expect the Sun Devils to make a premier bowl game. So what better way to go about today's day and age of college athletics than lean into that?
Yeah.
If you're an underdog, if somebody wrote you off, if you don't feel like you had maybe the best situation at your last program for X, Y, Z different reasons, then guess what? You can come to Arizona State and you could prove everybody wrong.
Yeah.
You could do it on the hardwood. You could do it on the football field. You could do it on the ice rink. It doesn't fucking matter.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's actually really interesting that you talk about like the underdog mentality. There's a very, very wide range of places that these players are coming from going into ASU this season. You've got your blue blood prospects, right? Your 5 stars, your highest recruit in program history. But the chip on his shoulder with Jane Quains is the fact that he's really young. He reclassified, and he was kind of that movement maker where I'm going to go to Arizona State and I'm going to lead the way for a guy like Joe Sansanin to be here as well.
Yeah.
With Sannin, you left the rival school to go to this school. And to be honest, there's a lot being put on your name and there's a lot being said about you. And
you can't be a one and done.
You can't. Like, you have the pressure of like, all things go right, you could be looking at a top 10 pick. Right? If all things go wrong, you could be looking at somebody who's at the end of the second round who's a flyer, right? That's a massive variance and that's a massive difference, right? So those are 2 different types of pressure for really high 5-star guys. Then you have transfers, right? Where
From
you're
a bunch
like
of mid schools.
from a bunch of mid schools who were the guy on their school, in a BJ Freeman, an Alston Mason, right? A Bashir Jihad. These are players that were go-to offensive options. And to be frank, they're going to be competing with a lot of other people to get their minutes, to get their touches.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. And then on top of all of that, you have 2 returning players from last year, and Adam Miller and Sean Phillips, who I know are not happy with how everything turned out. Adam Miller, who still wants to establish his dominance, still wants to be the best player on the team, be the leading scorer on the team, be the leader on the team. And Sean Phillips, who's looking to bounce back from a season that I'm sure even he's not happy about.
Yeah.
You can throw in a different type of mixture for almost every single player on this ASU basketball team, and they all have chips on their shoulders. Oh, and by the way, there's going to be cameras following them the whole damn time. Like this is something that if they can take advantage of the moment, and if they can really, really seize the day in a way that a lot of national pundits are not expecting them to, and they can capture it on camera, we're talking about the stock of these players in this program doing a complete 180 within 365 days.
You're talking about your Cinderella story.
Absolutely. And you're talking about it having a high production, like documentary style thing behind it as well. And that, of course, is a selling point to players. That's why some players are coming here, because they know if I show out and I do well, it's going to make me look awesome.
Yeah, it builds a brand.
Absolutely. And ASU basketball is rebuilding their brand.
Welcome back.
Thank you, dude.
Welcome back,
I'm
man.
freaking fired up. Are you
it.
kidding me?
Gosh.
Drop a like.
So glad to have you back
Like
in
the
that
video.
chair. I want to get to Sweet Prince Kenny's super chat that he had a little bit earlier in the show. $1.99 super chat from Sweet Prince Kenny. Shout out Sweet Prince Kenny. Welcome back. Has Bobby ever been afraid of Erik? I don't think
No.
Bobby's afraid of Erik.
Bobby would look me dead in the eye, and there would be no fear in his heart.
Well, maybe at some point soon we can ask him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Hey, coach, right here.
Are you afraid of me?
Erik Ruby, PHNX Sports. If you saw me walking down a dark alleyway towards you, would you run?
I don't think you would.
Coach, would you cross the street if I was walking towards you on a dark night in Phoenix?
I said always got to be at night, man.
Well, because if
I'd be scary during the day.
yeah, it's true. But I can't go out there in the day. I'm too
He'd
bad.
probably just try and help you cross the road because of the glasses,
Yeah, he'd be like, "Sir, are you blind?"
Yeah. He would just hold your hand, walk you through. Now, that would be a sight to see.
That would
100%. Look, we also had a comment from Marco that I wanted to get to.
Yes, sir. What up, Marco? That's my boy.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Son of an alumni on
Yeah.
a show. Love to see it. Forks up, baby.
Marco also went to Cronkite.
Love that.
Marco's doing his thing in the play-by-play world. Absolutely killing it. I don't know if he's still in the stream right now, but yeah, that's the guy. Shout out Marco.
Things you love to see. Look, guys, we're going to continue talking about Arizona State sports, but first want to tell you about our friends over at Circle K. Circle K is the one-stop shop for everything that you could possibly need, whether you are going on a vacation, whether you are driving 40 minutes to Glendale. It doesn't matter. Circle K has everything that you need, including this lovely energy.
Yeah, you stopped at Circle K. We left.
It's gonna supply me for the rest of the day.
Yeah, we had a lovely little PHNX shoot and meeting out at I was at Sanderson Ford.
Yeah,
and we were driving back at the same time, and I was behind you, and I didn't need gas, and I'm all stocked up from the day. I already stopped at Circle K.
Of course you are.
And I see you, and I'm like, that's not the way to the office. I'm like, we're driving the same place. Totri, I see him
Gotta go see the
right
homies.
into the Circle K.
Gotta go see my Circle K homies, man. Look, whether it's for snacks or a great deal on gas, Circle K has got you covered with their new free membership program, Inner Circle. It's going to help you save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups, and then you could save 3 cents per gallon every single day after that. Enjoy your member-exclusive beverage deal. Inner Circle is going to help you get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents now through September 3rd at any Arizona location. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading that Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
Man, Mr. Circle K reads, brother.
They
just get me absolutely fired up.
K.
Yeah, I mean, you love Circle K. I love Circle K, and it's been so long. This is the longest I've gone without telling you guys about our friends over at Desert Financial Credit Union in quite some time, because I tell you about them every single day because they're just that dang good. Seriously. Ben and Kyle, I don't know, maybe Kyle doesn't know this. Kyle hasn't heard this story. Not only were my parents members of Desert Financial Credit Union, my grandmother was one of the first users of then Desert Schools, which opened up for teachers and educators, which my grandmother was. So quite literally, Desert Financial Credit Union runs in my blood. Okay? It is in my blood, and it's in Arizona's as well. For more than 84 years, DFCU has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community, aka the Ruby family, and providing financial solutions that just make life better. Listen, they've got their basics, your checkings, your savings accounts, but also I know our own Derek Montilla got his first home loan through Desert Financial Credit Union. They've got credit cards, other loans, investment options, and more. Kyle, you also now are aware of the Erik Ruby special, which is the leave your debit card at a bar and have to go get it replaced because you don't know where it went. Haven't done that in a while, so I'm feeling pretty good about myself, but we will see. However, if you are not a member of Desert Financial Credit Union yet, you can get $200 for free. All you have to do is open up a checking account online, get your $200 for free, and plus you can spend that $200 on your choice of one of 3 different ASU themed Visa debit cards. All of that right now at desertfinancial.com/ASU to get started.
Things I love. You know what else I love?
Please tell me.
College football.
College football.
Dude, I'm so amped. It's almost here,
We
Erik.
got some cool stuff in
It's
the works,
almost
man.
here. Are you ready?
No.
Are you ready?
No.
Well, fucking get ready, man.
Okay, give me a second. All right, I'm
Let's
fucking
go.
ready. Let's go.
He's
Come on.
ready. He's ready. Did you know that the Arizona State Sun Devils, they have this thing called Camp Tontozona?
I do know.
So they're headed up there. Sun Devils are going
Yes.
camping this week.
Of course they are.
After a phenomenal first week and change of fall camp practices. You've been gone, Erik.
I have been gone.
So what have you, again, have the voices talked to you at all, given you updates as to what's going on?
Funny enough, I was sleeping, and all of a sudden,
just sleeping away from the grind.
in the middle of the night, hey, when are you going on vacation?
Continue. Go
Right.
ahead.
I will be going solo with some great guests for like the next week. So if he gives me any crap about vacation. Anyways, I was in this middle of the night. I'm sleeping. All of a sudden I wake up in a cold sweat. And just ringing in my ears is Jeff Sims on Sundays.
Sunday.
Obviously I wasn't keeping up with everything, but as soon as I got back on the grid, that was the first thing that kind of popped to my mind. And I thought to myself, wow, I've missed quite a camp.
Yeah,
So
you have.
we'll get to that in a second. My question for you is besides that,
Oh, okay.
what's the biggest like storyline, soundbite? Like what's your biggest takeaway from what you said was a very good start to getting prepared for this season?
Yeah, so just biggest takeaway from camp so far? I would say the biggest takeaway from camp so far, funny enough, has to do with the quarterbacks and just that the competition is a competition. And I know that sounds silly, it sounds stupid, but there were a lot of people, myself included, that had Sam Leavitt kind of pegged as the starter heading into fall camp, heading into the season based off of what he did in the spring. And then, of course, Kenny Dillingham and company, they add Jeff Sims in the transfer portal. Kid who's had a little bit of a rocky college career thus far, from Georgia Tech to Nebraska, just kind of looking for a spot to revive his career.
Yeah.
And through the first 5-6 practices, Jeff Sims has been as good as Sam Leavitt. And that's not a knock on Sam Leavitt. That is more so Jeff Sims has impressed me with his ability thus far through camp. And again, I know there was a lot of people that took what I said about Jeff Sims yesterday and tried to spin it, me comparing Jeff Sims to Bo Nix or Jordan Travis. That wasn't the conversation.
That was my burners.
It was more so just based off of what Kenny has done in the past with quarterbacks. And Jeff Sims is he's a talented athlete. And Sam Leavitt is as well. So it is a full-blown quarterback competition, I would say, between those two. Again, and I said it yesterday, I think Sam Leavitt is still in the driver's seat to be the starting quarterback, but it is definitely a more open competition than I would have expected.
Where does our boy Bourguet fall in there?
Bourguet, I think, again, there's a lot of people that want to throw him in that conversation to be a starter. People that are diehard Sun Devil fans obviously have watched Trenton Bourguet through the last couple of seasons. And again, if there's one thing about Trenton, it's that he's going to be ready when and if his number is called. And if we've learned anything from the last 2 seasons at Arizona State, it's that it's a matter of when his number is called, not if.
Right.
Trent Bourguet will be ready if his number's called. In terms of the starting quarterback position, I think it is firmly between Sam Leavitt and Jeff Sims.
Okay.
So
I mean, that makes sense. That's kind of how we saw that kind of playing out in general. Obviously knowing that, like you said, if Bourguet is called upon, he'll be ready. And I know a lot of people root for Bourguet, rightfully so, just because of the type of person he is and the type of Sun Devil he is. And I also know that as that person, he's going to do his best to support whoever that is and to make that room better and not throw a hissy fit, right? Because like you said, somehow, some way, the ball always finds.
Oh, for sure.
The thing with Sims is, and I got caught up with it, and I think maybe Mike Luke like infected my brain with the Jeff Sims talk off the back of kind of brushing it off as like, whatever, like a flyer. But I mean, this is the reason why you do that, right? This is somebody with legitimate college football experience. Now, is it the greatest college football experience? No, but starting college football experience nonetheless. And the fact that there is somebody that's pushing Sam. And there is somebody that's challenging for that spot, and nobody can just sit back and kind of rest and say, I am the starting quarterback. Not that I would be concerned that this is really what anybody would be doing nonetheless. It's still a good thing to just naturally have because you won't rest, right? You won't sit back and think, you know what, I have it locked up. I can take this practice off or anything like that. And again, I don't say that to say these are the type of people to do that anyway. But there is something subconsciously, if you have somebody on your ass who's also slinging it, you're going to go up and you're going to say, I need to match them and be better.
Most definitely.
Right? And so that's exciting to hear. The whole phrase iron sharpens iron is great. But I think also your point with Kenny is awesome as well. A lot of people like to, you bring up something that you can take a part of and they just like to completely say that's the exact comparison.
Yeah.
Right? Like, for example, did the Tyus Jones emergency pod before I went off on my honeymoon. And we had compared the Warriors not starting their best five with maybe what the Suns could do if they don't close with Tyus Jones. And a bunch of people in the comments were like, well, you're comparing generational defenders to non-generational defenders. This team is different. It's like, whoa. We're just talking about the concept here.
Yeah.
Right. We're just talking about
with the actual players.
You can see a pattern, right? And so if you have a coach who is notorious for getting the most out of their quarterbacks, even quarterbacks that other people had given up on, and then you put him in a situation where in order to succeed, you have to get the most out of your quarterbacks that other people have given up on.
Yeah.
You could draw lines of optimism there and not be out of place, while also not sitting there and saying, Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Heisman candidate Jeff Sims, right? Like you're not saying that, but you're saying
it is the concept.
You have a coach who knows how to get the absolute most out of that position, and that's important.
And again, I think you can look to all sports, right? Like Jeff Sims doesn't need to be a Heisman winner for Arizona State to succeed, right? Like if football worked that way, if basketball worked that way, then you'd have the team that has the MVP would win every single championship, right? But that's not the case, especially in college sports where it is such a team game, right? Did Jaden Daniels win the Heisman last year? Yes. Did LSU make the college football playoff? No. Was Caleb Williams the number one overall pick? Was he the best player in college football last year? Probably. What did his team do? Didn't make the college football playoff, right? So again, you can have concepts and you just need the right fit.
Yeah.
You just need the right players who believe in the system, who can execute the system. And there's synergy, there's chemistry, and there's an understanding of how things need to go down. And through camp, I think you've started to see that. You've seen not just in the quarterbacks, but you've seen it in the wide receiver room. You've seen it with the running backs. You've seen it with the D-line of just an understanding of, hey, you know what? Like whether I'm starting or not, I'm going to push my teammates as much as I possibly can so that they can get the most out of it, right? I was at yesterday's practice, wasn't able to make it out to today's practice for partner stuff. But yesterday, Cam Scatteraboo, Xavier Alford, and Cole Martin during stretches were very, very vocal from the start of stretches to the end of stretches with their teammates, trying to be like, hey, keep going.
Yeah.
This is what it's going to take. Xavier Alford brought everybody together at the end before they went and ran to individual drills and said, hey, this is where we get better.
Yeah.
This is where we beat teams. Is in this 10 minutes, in the next 10 minutes, in the next 10 minutes. And not so much of, hey, you're going to beat them because you're stretched. You're going to beat them because you had a good rep in indies. You're going to beat them because you gave, in that 10-minute span, that 10-minute interval, you gave 110%.
Right.
And you didn't slack off. You didn't cheat yourself and you didn't cheat your teammates. And I know it's a sports cliche, whatever, to have that mentality, but it really does take that level of focus to go execute against good, great teams.
Yeah. I mean, Kenny went out and said, like, nobody really believes in us, right? And that doesn't drive you to, in those moments, push and push and push.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in having the leaders of the team step up and say, hey, let's get together. Like, that's what they're here for.
Yeah.
Right? And so you stop and you say, okay, these people, these players, they actually take it seriously. They understand the culture. They understand what needs to be brought. The leaders are stepping up. The coaches are stepping up. At the end of the day, like their path forward and their success is in their hands.
Yeah.
And I think they understand that. And I think they're really, really pushing hard because of that. And I'm really excited to see what goes on at Camp T. And Daniel Henderson in the chat says, do we know what time the scrimmage starts at Camp T this weekend?
So it's a 9.
Yeah, scrimmage starts at 9. I will be up at Camp T with our super producer, Kyle Coop, behind the Mac. We will be hopefully doing some fun stuff up there. Not going to do a live show because the internet connection is very spotty, but we will be putting some stuff.
Generous.
Yeah, we'll be putting some stuff out there. Might be not all happening while it's live, just purely because we might not have the service to do so. But I will be up at Camp T.
Yeah, people will be able to follow
weekend.
along kind of with the coverage of the scrimmage and that type of stuff. I will be gone. I will be on vacation, if you want to call a trip to Iowa vacation.
You're going to a wedding, brother. That's vacation.
I'm going to a wedding.
It's vacation.
So we'll have some fun there. But any other questions about fall camp? I want to use this as like a little primer for anybody that has kind of missed fall camp the first week or so.
If I just didn't know anything about ASU, so not a far stretch.
Okay.
Who would I be like most shocked by? So like most unknown name who has stood out the most.
Most unknown name who stood out the most. That's a good question. I would say, and ironically enough, we touched on it yesterday, the walk-on freshman wide receiver, Derek Yusubia, has been marvelous through the first few days of camp. He had a really nice spring. But again, you kind of treat it as like, oh, he's a walk-on, he's a freshman, he's not going to see the field. Kenny said yesterday that he's competing to be a part of the travel team and competing to potentially be seen on Saturday nights, which, again, is just further evidence of what Derek has done through the first few days of camp, because you have a wide receiver room with Jordan Tyson, Melquan Stovall, Troy O'Meara, Malik McLean just returned to practice yesterday. So like you've got names in that room, and there's freshman scholarship guys, right, that are working their tails off too and performing. But Derek is just finding ways to come down with catches that he shouldn't, make plays that people don't expect him to. And if he continues to do that, I have a tough time believing that they're going to be able to keep this kid off of scholarship next year. That's how good he's been. I mean, make your mark, right? And this team has shown that they will reward people who go out and earn it. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. This is, again, a team of underdogs, misfits, whatever, right? Of players that people didn't think could do a whole lot. And now you're telling me that the same week that Kenny says that, you've got a freshman walk-on that's making noise in the 2-deep. Like, we'll take it. That says a lot, man. It says a lot about where this team has been at. Steven in the chat, where's Bram Walden been? I haven't heard anything about him this fall. Bram hasn't been working with the 1s or 2s with the offensive line. Bram Walden is, again, a very interesting player. If as an Arizona State fan, I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't expect to see a whole lot of Bram early on. At this point, it does appear a lot of the starting lineup in terms of that offensive line is kind of set. Whether the coaching staff says it or not, you can kind of see it out there. So Bram Walden, again, probably a player that you could potentially see running with the 2s at a certain point, maybe even the 3s, but he's not. He's just hasn't delivered yet, right? Not to say he can't, but he just hasn't delivered as of yet. It appears, again, Emmett Bowl is going to be your starting left tackle until Jalen Clem, potentially, if he does return, would probably be your starting left tackle. You've got your left guard, Ben Coleman, Leif Autanu is your center. Sean Nunn, Cade Briggs are battling for that starting right guard spot. And then Mad Max is your starting right tackle. Will in the chat, speaking of offensive line, any update on Clem? I don't have an update as of right now as it relates to Jalen Clem. I've been trying to get something, but again, he is out for a personal issue, personal reasons. So sometimes that can be a little bit tricky to kind of navigate. So again, I know this team would love to have him out there on the field because he is a very talented offensive lineman. We'll just kind of have to wait and see as to when and if that situation does kind of end, I guess. And Sweet Prince Kenny with another $4.99 super chat. Shout out Sweet Prince Kenny. Eric Anthony left unsupervised, ranted on Sims haters. I did do that. Not so much Sims haters, but people that vocalize hate for 20-something-year-old kid on the internet.
It's fair.
Like,
it's fair.
it's just
You're such a brave man.
Somebody's got to fight that fight, man.
The world is grateful to have you.
I just buckled up and I said, you know what? I'm going to be that guy today.
You just do that every day.
Yeah.
You are just...
I mean, I wanted to make 14-year-old me proud, And I feel like defending...
Is he?
I think so. I think 14-year-old me would be still pretty bummed that I'm 5'8", so I don't think he would be too proud. But
that was kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm keeping it a buck with you. He's probably pretty happy that we're not, 5'6", 180 pounds. He's probably pretty happy that that's not the case right now. Not looking like Mike Tolbert out there, but hey, it is what it is. Speaking of Mike Tolbert, NFL. Do you remember? Do either one of you remember Mike Tolbert? Yeah, Kyle remembers Mike Tolbert. Barely.
Iffy. The name is familiar.
You're such a fraud. But
yep.
Brandon Aiyuk, current San Francisco 49ers wide receiver. Christian McCaffrey just did an interview on NFL Network.
Oh, geez.
And called Brandon Aiyuk a former teammate. A former teammate. He is yet to officially be traded. But from everything we've seen, Patriots, I saw the Browns, and the Steelers are all potential landing spots for Aiyuk. I believe it was Tom Pelissero of NFL Network tweeted yesterday that at this point, it is more likely that he gets traded than stays with the 49ers, which is kind of crazy because I feel like this whole thing is sped up.
It's been so weird,
It's
dude.
sped up a lot. So I do want to get your thoughts on the whole Brandon Aiyuk situation as it stands right now. But first, want to give a little quick shout out to Sanderson Ford. We were over there this morning. Got a great look at some of their new cars that they have out there. I've been on Max. I'm like, dude, I need a Bronco. I need a Bronco. I need a Bronco.
That Bronco was speaking to you,
dude.
and Damon.
It was me and Damon. We're just dishing googly eyes. Damon, come here real quick. We're talking about Sanderson Ford, about how we were getting googly eyes at the Bronco there, man. Just what were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on it, man?
I went to Sanderson Ford today, and I saw some of the most beautiful vehicles I've ever seen in my life, and I had some of the best goddamn food I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, they have a diner. If you didn't know, Sanderson Ford has a diner.
They have a diner, and it's great, and it's affordable, just like the cars.
Yeah, you got yourself a piece of merch there, too.
I did buy myself a shirt at Sanderson Ford. I will be sporting it around the various PHNX shows I'm on, and I will be back out there, maybe test driving a Bronco.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you let me know when, because you looked damn good. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, go check them out. Absolutely just phenomenal vehicles out there. And again, even if you're just going to like take a look around, I think that's, again, we met some of the people out there that are going to be selling you those cars. Some really, really nice folks.
They're great people.
They're gonna be looking out for you. Just tell them that PHNX sent you, and go from there. Get yourself a Bronco, man.
Yeah, great people. We've known the Sanderson Ford people for a very long time, and there's a reason. There's a reason why they're the best of the best. That's really all I could say. There's
no
a
Ford
reason.
dealership sells more than them.
No, they're like genuinely the best.
Literally
the best in the country.
It's wild. It is wild. Sharon in the chat. No, not the Steelers or the Patriots. Hard enough rooting for him on the 49ers. Again, talking about wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. What do you think of this whole just circus?
Yeah, just players and teams not getting along as always. I free my boy. Free
my boy.
Let's start that.
Free my boy from the Super Bowl runner-up. Free him.
Free my boy Aiyuk, okay? Like, seriously, man. Let the boy cook, okay? I need Aiyuk out there cooking. I don't need him in this drama.
So if he's not going to the Niners, where's he going? Out of those three teams.
What were they again?
The Patriots, the Browns, and the Steelers. Steelers could be fun. The Browns would low-key be crazy
because...
because...
Go to the Patriots.
Ew.
He's going to go to the Patriots.
Ew. No, we watched N'Keal Harry go there and his career died. Don't go there. Don't do it. Go to any other team. Don't catch passes from Drake May. It's just not going to be good for you. It's not going to be good for your career. You might get a bag, but I don't want it. I'd rather you go to the Browns, join a wide receiver room that's got Jerry Jeudy, Damari Cooper in it. Which, again, I don't necessarily think that they would be able to keep both of those guys in a trade for Brandon Aiyuk, but maybe that's just me. I think all these other teams probably have the leverage over the Niners because they know that Aiyuk wants out. But I think the Steelers could be a fun choice. They've still got George Pickens. They obviously traded away Deontay Johnson over the offseason to the Panthers. They traded him, right? It wasn't a free agency signing. I think it was a trade. So they don't really have a 2. Brandon Aiyuk, I think, would step up and he'd be the 1 there. You'd have Pickens as your 2. If you're looking for, you've got your wide receiver duo now for, whether it be a Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, that offense could look fun. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think any offense that Brandon Aiyuk is on is going to be a fun one.
So Aiyuk to Pittsburgh, is that what we're doing? Are we getting our terrible towels out?
I don't like Pittsburgh.
Now, what do you think PHNX Cardinals wants?
For him to come on the...
Okay, well, he's not going to the Cardinals. He's not going to the Cardinals. He's not going to the Cardinals. I guess they just want him out of San Francisco.
Out of San Francisco.
That's fair.
Out of San Francisco. That's all that matters, really, for the Cardinals fans right now. Out of the NFC would be great. Yeah,
that's fair.
Just don't want to deal with the hometown kid at all.
Well, all the teams I mentioned were all AFC teams. So
yeah, no,
the Niners don't. The Niners don't want to see him
out of there.
Niners don't want to see him. Anything else, Eric? Before we get out of here.
Busy day. Busy day. Busy week. You're going to be gone.
Yeah.
Abandoning us as always.
Yeah, I know this is going to be my last show until next Tuesday. I am going to be out of town for a wedding. But I know you'll hold down the fort, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to line up some good guests. I believe Ralph will be on for sure tomorrow, possibly again later in the week. And I got a couple other names kicking around. And like I said, I'll be up at Camp T. So yeah, a little bit of a shorter show today. Just a lot of moving parts over at PHNX today. But if you feel like you didn't get your daily dose of Erik Ruby, which I'm sorry, that's something you feel like you need.
I didn't get enough of it.
You're going to overdose on the next couple of days. So yeah. Super pumped.
Yes.
Pumped to have our boy Kyle behind the Mac. People don't know this, but Kyle has been working with us before and was an intern here and is just an absolute stud.
He's a dog.
Just a dog. He's that dude. So super excited to see what all of us can do this season.
Cool.
But yeah.
That's what we're going to start doing.
Cool. I like that. You see, he gets the cool nicknames. I get Blind freaking Mouse and Jose Perez.
Sorry,
Meanwhile,
man.
he gets a whole ass chance.
Yeah.
It's okay. He deserves it. He deserves it. So yeah, I think that's going to be about it for me today.
Well, look, before we get out of here, got to tell you guys again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop a 5-star review. Also, head to gophnx.com and click that Die Hard tab. It's going to tell you everything that you unlock when you become a PHNX Die Hard, and it is a long list of things. You're going to get access to the Die Hard Discord. You're going to get exclusive discounts on merch events. You're going to get a free t-shirt every single year from that PHNX locker when you sign up. You're going to get a Die Hard membership card, access to premium Die Hard only content, and the list continues to go on. So much more. Again, gophnx.com. The Die Hard tab is where you are going to find your spot. In the meantime, guys, though, again, if you enjoyed the content, give us a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You could follow the Blind Mouse himself.
Can you give me a new nickname here, right now?
At Erik Ruby.
Give me a new nickname right here.
Erik with a K. Tomorrow you can kind of set your own nickname. You can say your own nickname tomorrow.
Whatever nickname you give me today, I will introduce myself as tomorrow.
Introduce yourself. Kyle, do you have one? Let's see if Kyle has one for you.
Be nice.
The pale podcaster himself.
Oh, dude, we have so many pale jokes over on the Sun stuff. White Noise, Frosted Flex, Gringo Rilla. Wow. Unedited Google Doc was one of the funniest ones for sure. Guys, this is how tan I get after being at the beach all week. Okay,
that's tough for you, man.
It is what it is.
Well, you can follow him.
You completely skimped out.
Erik Ruby. There's Erik with a K. You could follow Coop at KCoop Sports on social. We appreciate everybody stopping by today. Again, hit that like button on your way out and be sure to stay locked in because we got a lot of fun stuff in the works ahead of the college football season. But as always, go Devils and peace.
We all silly like the mayor.